This podcast is part of the Shrimp Queen Network.
Visit facebook.com/Shrimp Queen Network to see more great podcasts.
Hear them.
Hear more great podcasts.
Good job.
Thanks for listening.
Hello? Are you there?
Nice start. Welcome to the 10 for 10 podcast, wherein your hosts, us.
Are you okay? Are you having a stroke?
Yeah. I am Dan.
I'm Jess.
And each week one of us creates a top 10 list or a list of sorts, some sort of ranking of things that we like or are passionate about or want to learn more about to present to the other for questions, comments, but mostly jokes. So...
not even mostly.
Almost entirely?
No. Less than half. Yeah.
I'd say there are a fair amount of jokes. Good amount of joking going on. Anywho, this week, finally not doing something related to Game of Thrones or Marvel or anything like that. So it's kind of a bit of a breath of fresh air. Mm-hmm. This week, just because this Friday, Detective Pikachu comes out and the internet was set ablaze, aflutter with that horrendous trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog, both of which are video game movies, one of which looks far better than the other, and comes out this Friday. Detective Pikachu.
Are you okay?
I decided this week I was going to do the top 10 best video game movies, but let's be real, there aren't really 10 good ones. So I'm doing the top 5 video game movies and the bottom 5 video game movies. Okay. So the best and the worst.
Have I seen any of them?
Yeah, I think so. 1 or 2.
How many do you think I've seen?
2.
Like positive?
Yeah. I mean, positive 1.
How many of these video games have I actually taken part in?
Seen, playing, or played?
Or watched being
played. Did I say seen, playing?
Yeah, taken part in playing.
Seen, played. I don't know. Probably a few. Anyway.
Okay.
So this is basically
you do remember that I am not.
The two ends of the list. I'm pretty sure that Detective Pikachu is going to be the best video game movie ever made.
So what are you starting with, though? Fine. Top or bottom?
Top, because I think we should start positive and just then get negative.
Get sad?
It's the first really negative list I've ever done where I'm saying something is bad.
I mean, I think for your unsolved mysteries, whatever, that one was kind of...
But that was more like of the mystery and the eerie factor. I'm saying like their quality, they are bad movies. Oh, okay. I've tried to keep it, generally positive on the show. Probably. I don't know. Probably not.
I don't think so.
And so let's...
get to it.
Let's just jump into it. So this one's for the gamers. So all gamers listening to this, please rise up. Tell Veronica that she is a whore. Ugh.
Okay, let's not.
Sorry. That's a mean.
Exactly. Kind of. I'm not going to understand anything about this episode, so let's just get going.
Okay. Don't call women that. That was like a... I was
start your
going
list.
into a character.
Start your list.
Sorry,
nobody understands.
I just don't want anybody to perceive me as something that I'm not. Funny, that is. Yeah.
A whore, you mean?
Jessica, you're not helping my case. Okay, so how I ranked both lists, I guess kind of inverse for one of them and the other, was their just general quality as a film, like acting, writing, direction, editing. A lot of them surprisingly don't even hit a lot of those. The honesty to adapting its source material, like the video game that it's based off of.
Acting in them.
Arguably, very arguably.
They're just placed somewhere and told, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. How well it adapts the source material into a 2-hour chunk, because that's kind of the biggest thing The biggest problem with these movies is they're adapting things that are 30, 40 hours long. And it's not like a book where, you know, you can take the story elements that are important and condense them down. With this, a lot of that is spent playing, so you have to get the story, you got to get the characters.
I understand what you're saying.
I'm explaining it for the audience.
It's like a book series that's 3 books, and they make 1 movie.
Yeah. So a lot gets lost along the way.
Shove it all in there.
Or an entire series of a show, or an entire season of a show with a really deep lore and very interesting characters.
And then they forget that they have to have a finale.
And so they condense it all.
It's like, oh God.
Into one thing, and they mispronounce half of the characters' names and call the main character Ong, and Sokka, and Hero, and anyway, it's really hard.
I haven't seen any Avatar movie, whether it be Blue People or TV show.
Keep it that way.
All right, so start.
So
are you starting with like your number 1, or are you going like top 5, like 5th, 4th, whatever? Or are you just starting at like your number 1 and just going down?
No. This is, I guess, my 5.
That would have been cool.
And then also my criteria was that it had to have a theatrical US release because like a lot of video game movies are direct to video.
You're rambling now. Let's go.
Well, it's for the audience's sake.
I get it.
So the best. Here we go.
They don't care if it had a US theatrical release.
Well, then it'd just be kind of unfair because then like obviously a lot of them are going to be really bad. But if they're bad,
then why do they want to see them?
Oh, this isn't... I'm not telling anybody to see any of these movies. I gave the Rotten Tomatoes...
What?
I gave the Rotten Tomatoes as well. Not that I'd necessarily believe in it, but just to give you an idea of even how poorly received the good ones are.
Okay. All right.
So my honorable mentions, I have Pokemon the first movie, Ratchet and Clank, Street Fighter, which is kind of so bad that it's good, like on a really good cheesy 90s level, and Assassin's Creed, which was really boring, but...
The one with Magneto?
Yeah, and they didn't use enough of the time.
What the fuck is his name?
Travel. Michael Fassbender.
Thank you.
Number 5. With a Rotten Tomatoes score of 46%, we have Mortal Kombat, which was released on August 18th, 1995. It was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. Stars Lyndon Ashby, Christopher Lambert, Robin Shue, Bridget Wilson, and Kerry Hiroyuki Tagawa.
I only know who Lyndon Ashby is.
So
Mr. Stalinsky.
Yeah, from Teen Wolf. So it basically just adapted the story of the first game. So it's the Netherrealm and Earthrealm have to come together every 100, 200 years and have their best fighters duke it out.
Why?
Because if the Earthrealm, like whoever wins gets to choose what they want to do with the other realm. It's like written by the Elder Gods. It's all this lore bullshit. Earthrealm usually wins, and they say we're not going to do anything to the Netherrealm, but if they win, they want to take over the Earth. So it has...
That's so mean. Like, Earth hasn't done anything to them.
Liu Kang, it has Johnny Cage, Raiden, Sonya Blade, even Jax shows up, Kano, Scorpion, Sub-Zero.
Whoever these people are.
Shang Tsung, Goro even appears. So it has a lot of the characters from the video game. Which is really cool. It's actually like a pretty well put together movie.
Just like that's a whole lot of characters for one.
Well, it focuses on Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya and Raiden, and then like the others show up as like opponents or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Katana also appears. She's Liu Kang's love interest from the video games.
Okay.
And so it kind of just does the best that it could. It had to have a PG-13 rating. That was something that the studio wanted.
But it's so violent.
But exactly. So they kind of do the best that they can while still maintaining a PG-13 rating. And I think it did pretty well. The action and fight sequences are kind of front and center. They're well paced. They're fast paced, actually. They're well choreographed and are exciting to watch despite some really, really dated special effects at some parts. And they do a pretty good job of adapting the stages from the games into kind of real sets, which is cool to see them in kind of a three-dimensional.
Have you seen this movie?
Me? Oh yeah.
Yes, you.
Disclaimer, I did not rewatch any of these movies before making this list because I'm not going to waste my time with a lot of them.
When did you see this movie then?
It was actually probably like the first video game movie that I saw where I was like really into the video game as well. So, oh God, I can't even remember.
That's not a year.
I know. Oh, probably the first time I saw it was like 2007, 2008. And
how old would you have been?
Time, 11 or 12.
Oh, wait, no, I was going the other way.
And probably the last time I saw it, I was maybe like 13, 14. Okay. So I kind of want to rewatch it now that I've grown up and played basically all of the games in the series. Because I was really into Mortal Kombat when I was in like 5th and 6th grade. I just played Armageddon all the time. It adapts the source material pretty well, but kind of sacrifices the character of Raiden in the process, as he's kind of like their Dumbledore, like their mentor, and he just kind of turns into a exposition spewing mouthpiece, and that's kind of all he does, is just explain what's happening and what they need to do and where they need to be going and all that stuff. But also in the games, he's kind of like that already, so I guess it really isn't that big of a deal. The casting is pretty spot on. I think Christopher Lambert, Lyndon Ashby, and Tagawa as their characters, Raiden, Johnny Cage, and Shang Tsung, are particularly good. In fact, Tagawa just came back for Mortal Kombat 11 to do the voice of Shang Tsung in that, even though I don't think he's ever really done it before. All of the costumes are pretty damn good adaptations, and kind of just toe the line between being awesome and really silly because they're based on, a video game. But they come off pretty well. Specifically, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, I think, work kind of, they work nicely. Because they're bright yellow and bright blue ninja outfits. So.
I can't confirm or deny if you're right,
You know what Scorpion looks like, though. He's the one who I always play as. He's the yellow ninja.
I don't think I've ever seen you play Mortal Kombat, except for like the other day. And I wasn't registering any of it.
Okay. All of the characters are also pretty well put together, so you actually care somewhat about them when they're in life and death fights, specifically Sonya, Johnny Cage, and Liu Kang, because they're the three main characters. They all survive, except for the sequel, which we'll get to later. It honestly gets better with time, as its 90s nostalgia also kind of just increases with every year that passes, and it's like, oh, this is fun. This is some good fun. And it holds the title of being the first video game movie that came out that isn't, entirely bullshit. Like, it's actually decent. So that's my number 5.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat. Number 4. This one you might have seen.
Might.
Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time.
Never saw. Was that the one with Jake Gyllenhaal?
It was the one with Jake Gyllenhaal.
I remember seeing trailers for it.
It's currently holding a Rotten Tomatoes score of 37%. I don't know if it's going to go up or down.
That was a video game?
Yeah. It's one of my favorite video games, actually. Prince of Persia and the Sands of Time.
That and the one with Taylor Kish were the same movie.
John Carter?
Yeah. I thought that those two were like just the same movie.
Yeah, they kind of had similar posters and everything.
The exact same look.
It was released May 28th, 2010.
It's a video game?
Yeah. Directed by Mike Newell. Do you recognize that name?
No.
Because he also directed Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, as well as High Fidelity and 4 Weddings and a Funeral. So he's got some pretty good
4 Weddings and a Funeral. I don't remember it, but I know that I've seen it.
Yeah, it stars, as you said, Jake Gyllenhaal, Ben Kingsley, Gemma Arterton, Toby Kebbell, and Alfred Molina. Just kind of adapts the story of the first game-ish. It's about a prince.
Is he in Persia?
From Persia, yes. In the game, he's the only heir to his father's throne. In the movie, he has 2 brothers. And basically, his father gets tricked by this evil vizier to open the Sands of Time, which,
is this
ruins
Aladdin?
Everything. No. And he gets this dagger that holds the Sands of Time, and with it, he can turn back time, by 1 minute.
I assumed it had something to do with
Yeah,
time.
so the idea is, you're...
By 1 minute?
So while you're playing the game, if you get stabbed and you're about to die, you turn it back, or if you're jumping across something and you fall, you can turn it back and try again and all that, basically.
Okay.
But then you have to kill enemies and absorb them into the knife because they're made out of the sands of time. It's this whole thing. Anyway, in the movie, it's very similar. He gets framed, I think, for trying to kill his father. It's the Vizier who was doing it. Ben Kingsley's playing the villain. Alfred Molina, aka Dr. Octopus, is his father. Toby Kebbell plays one of his brothers. All this stuff happens, and he goes on a crazy adventure to return the sands of time, I think.
Okay.
Anyway.
Have you seen this movie?
I have, multiple times, actually. I saw it in theaters, I'm pretty sure.
Why?
Because I love Prince of Persia.
Well, I like Jake Gyllenhaal, so I could see.
Yeah, he was, I think it's kind of middle of the road, and honestly, if it was just a standalone movie, I would probably like it better, but I don't think it does a great job of adapting the source material. As I said, like, it kind of changes the story a lot. But it is up there as a video game movie. All of the performances are good. Jake Gyllenhaal is cast pretty well. I know there was some controversy, which I totally get because he's white.
Yes.
The effects are impressive for 2010. There's some good slow motion in it and like reverse slow motion, which come off pretty nicely. There's this one part where they're at a camp and then like a cobra just like jumps out of the sand at him and he has the dagger and he's just like holding it and he just like presses it and the snake slowly like stops and like you can see the venom coming out of it. And I think it was a real snake that they just filmed in slow motion and then it just like
That's cool.
all goes back. And really that's what keeps it from being my number one is I don't think it does the source material true justice. It has elements of the first couple Prince of Persia games, like I said, but
how many Prince of Persia games are there?
There were a lot of like side-scrolly ones, and then Prince of Persia: Sands of Time is like the new generation. I think there are like 4 or 5. Okay. There's Prince of Persia, I think Deception, Prince of Persia: The Warrior Within, Two Thrones, all that stuff.
Okay.
And it kind of just handpicks a couple plot points from multiple games, mostly the first one. But I can see why they kind of changed it as well, because in the movie, he doesn't really use the dagger that much because it runs out of sand really quickly because he uses it to stop a snake from killing him. So they kind of rob him of that power, which is really unique to him. Like, that's the whole point, is that he can turn back time by like 30 seconds, which I think is cool, but I get how that could be a problem in the movie. If it's like, well, he's never in any danger because he can always turn back the clock, and kind of, keeps the stakes up. So that's why it's my number 4.
Okay.
Number 3, I think you have seen this. It has a Rotten Tomatoes of 31%. So even though they're going down, I still think it's a better movie.
Okay.
Silent Hill.
Nope.
Okay, it was released April 21st, 2006.
Is that one that eventually Kit Harington was in?
He was in the sequel, yeah.
I saw that one.
Oh, really?
I think. But he's only in it for like a minute, right?
No, he's in it for he's a pretty big part in that.
Then I don't think I've
spoiler
seen
alert,
it.
he doesn't die. He survives.
Then there's another movie where there's like briefly someone famous, maybe Kit Harington there. I was like, hey.
Well,
I don't think
similar vein to Kit Harington, because this one, it was directed by Christoph Gans.
Who's the rando in it?
Starring Radha Mitchell, Sean Bean, and Laurie Holden. So it has Sean Bean and Laurie Holden from The Walking Dead played Andrea.
Oh, no.
So I think it's a pretty effective horror movie.
Did Sean Bean die?
No, he doesn't, which is pretty crazy. He's playing kind of the part of the main character of the first game, but it's told from a different perspective. So basically the story of Silent Hill, the first one, it's this guy, Harry Mason, his daughter goes missing, so he goes to Silent Hill to search for her, and
What is Silent Hill?
It's this like creepy pocket alternate dimension.
Oh no, I haven't seen any of these then.
Yeah, it has
make any sense.
like everything is like covered in fog all the time. It's all
I'm thinking of
gross and dark.
Like, I'm thinking of The Collector 2.
The Collection.
Who's the random person
Sharman
in that?
Is in it randomly.
Oh, that's it.
Okay. This one has Pyramid Head and like the weird nurses. Pyramid Head?
Who?
You know Pyramid Head. We all know Pyramid Head.
Who?
Anyway, I think it's a pretty effective horror movie and captures the eerie atmosphere of the Silent Hill games pretty well, along with the plot kind of reminiscent of the first game and a lot of the other games. A lot of them involve someone going missing and someone else going to Silent Hill to search for them. Mm-hmm. And it has a parent frantically searching the spooky town of Silent Hill for a lost child. There's this cult, all this shit. It's so complex. It doesn't even try to go too far into the lore and backstory of Silent Hill, and that's kind of for good reason because it's really confusing. And gets really annoying because almost all of the games have like 8 different endings that you can get, including one where you find out that the whole thing has been controlled by a dog sitting at a bank of like cameras controlling stuff, and that's the end of the game.
Dog?
Yeah, it's like an alien or something.
Oh, okay.
They're really weird. It's sort of gained cult, no joke intended status since its release in 2006. A lot of horror movie buffs consider it a pretty damn good movie because it is a good horror movie. So even though it has a Rotten Tomatoes of 31% with horror movies, I always add a 25% to horror movies because they just always get the shit end of the stick. They seemingly always get bad reviews. Me. No matter how good they actually are. Mm-hmm. The cast is good.
Because I might get scared but it was a good movie. And I don't like it when people are like, well, I didn't like it because it scared me. And it's like,
Laurie Holden is good in it. So? She plays one of the characters from the video game. She does a pretty good job of that. And Radha Mitchell, she's the lead.
Didn't they all play characters from the video game?
She's kind of like, there's some adaptions, there's some changes. Okay. Radha Mitchell, I don't know how to pronounce her name, as the desperate mother at the center of the film, and Sean Bean, who miraculously doesn't die and is really like the only survivor of the movie, which is even crazier. Spoiler alert. Yeah, because then she's the main character in the second movie, but I don't know. It's kind of inexplicable how she dies. No, I think she is like somewhat famous. Here, I'll go look at that.
Well, I can look it up since you're the one who's reading your list. That's okay. How this usually works.
And the ending is nice and dark and creepy because the mom thinks that she's gotten the daughter out of Silent Hill, and they go home, and then they realize they're still in the alternate dimension, and Sean Bean, who is the father, is sitting at home, and like the front door just kind of opens on its own, and it's creepy, and he's like,
do you know what her name is, like the daughter?
The daughter, well, she'd be the main character in Silent Hill Revelations, yeah.
Okay.
Would
it be Heather?
Heather Mason or Heather De Silva?
Or Alessa? Did she have 2 names?
Yeah, she does. They have alternate names.
Found her. She is...
What's the actress's name?
Keep going. Hold on.
Well, I'm done on Silent Hill.
Adelaide
basically.
Clemens. She played Catherine in The Great Gatsby, and she was Carnival Girl in X-Men Origins.
Oh,
Wolverine.
Carnival Girl. Did you know that X-Men Origins Wolverine was co-written by one of the...
She plays Pirate Jenny in the new Watchmen series.
Oh, cool. Anyway.
Oh,
X-Men...
here you go. Sorry. She's Merla in Voltron.
Well, she's not on screen.
I know, but the voice...
Anywho.
Come on.
X-Men Origins Wolverine was co-written by one of the showrunners of Game of Thrones, David Benioff.
Good.
So, there's that.
I don't think there's anything else. She was in something called Vampire in 2011. She played Lady Bird.
Anyway, I
don't know. I feel like that's something that you would know.
The dark ending is fitting with the video game it's based off of, and it left the door open for a really bad sequel, as you mentioned, with Kit Harington in it. And Sean Bean returns. And all that.
Why did he do that?
Probably Sean Bean was like, I've got a good job for you.
And Malcolm McDowell's in it.
Yeah. It's like random people. Oh, but also the first Silent Hill features a really, really cool kill, like on-screen kill by Pyramid Head, where he grabs a lady who's running from him. She's running along with Laurie Holden and the mom. And he grabs her. He's basically this big hulking thing with a pyramid as a head, a giant metal pyramid, and he carries a big axe thing. So he picks her up, rips her.
I'm just looking at pictures from it.
Yeah, rips her clothes off, and then he like kind of grabs her by the shoulder and just tears all of her skin off in one go and throws it at Laurie Holden and the mom. And it's like,
is that
dude,
it?
Yes, that's Pyramid Head. That's the scene that I'm talking about. Yeah, he's gross. And the whole movie just feels so grody. It's awesome. I actually really like it. I might rewatch it. But it's a good one.
Little girl.
Yeah, she kind of
plays. Hold on.
It kind of gives off a little bit of Samara vibes because there's like a dark entity version of her.
I know, where she's like a little girl. She plays a little girl. Someone. I'm sorry. I hate to do this, but like if I don't figure it out, I'm gonna be like.
And as we've mentioned, her daily reminder that
she's in. She's in the last Twilight movie.
Oh, does she play the kid?
No, she's in the third one. She's just credited in like the last one. That's why she's like the girl that like they're.
I haven't seen the third one.
Oh, did you read the book?
No.
Oh,
okay, I tried to read the second one, and I was like,
she like doesn't really want to be there for like the fight, and so then they tried to be like, we'll teach her, and they're like, no, kill her, and so they have to kill her.
Who kills her?
The Cullens have to. Well, they're kind of like ordered by the. What the fuck were the
Vox Populi?
Volturi. I don't know if they do it or not, but they're the ones who are like, honey, sorry.
Jesus. Anyway.
That's what she's from.
On to number 2. Resident Evil with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 35%.
Never seen.
Released March 12th, 2002. Also directed by...
Are there any others that you think that I've seen?
Yeah, my number 1 you have. Directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who also directed Mortal Kombat. It stars Mila Jovovich.
Ready Player One doesn't count as a video game movie, does it?
No, otherwise... It would definitely be higher than all of this, as would Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph would be number 1.
Yes.
So no,
I mean, they play Candy Crush
I guess that's my other criteria.
In the Emoji Movie,
is that it has to be an adaptation of the sort. It can't just like be really referential to something. It has to try to adapt like the characters being the main characters in the story of the game. Stars Mila Jovovich, Michelle Rodriguez. Eric Mabius and James Purefoy.
Michelle Rodriguez, the one from Fast and Furious?
Yes, she's a member of the Familia.
From Lost.
She plays Letty.
Oh.
Letty is her name.
How do you spell that?
Letty.
Not I-E?
No.
Okay,
I think it's like for Nicoletta or something. Anyway, why this is number 2. It's not really a direct adaptation of any of the Resident Evil games up to that point. I think they were up to Resident Evil 3, maybe Resident Evil 0. I don't know. But the film occurs...
The fuck is Resident Evil 0?
It's a prequel.
Oh my God.
The film occurs concurrently with the first and kind of second
any of them
games.
Up here from it?
Yes.
Is it that boy?
No, that's Garrus from Mass Effect.
Is it that boy?
That's Geralt from The Witcher.
Him.
Yeah, it's Leon.
Okay. I was looking for something like I didn't know.
It kind of like happens at the same time as the first game, and then the second one kind of happens at the same time as the second and third
who plays
games.
Him?
He does not appear in this one. He's not in it. I said it doesn't have any of the characters from the game in the first movie, at least. A couple of the characters.
Is he ever in it? I thought he's like a favorite he's in one of everyone.
Yeah, and he's only in one movie, and they butcher him. I'll get to the other movies later.
Just who plays him? That's all I want to know.
I don't know. It's and it encapsulates kind of a lot of what makes the game great. It's about a team of operatives, like military types, who are trapped in a claustrophobic setting that's overrun with zombies that are infected with the T virus. All of the lore and aspects of the Resident Evil series, like Umbrella, the T virus, the Lickers, the Nemesis, are all there, and they aren't really changed that much from their video game counterparts. That is the one good thing about the rest of the games, is whenever an enemy shows up, it looks basically the same as it looked in the games, which is cool. It also alludes to and borrows a lot of the famous imagery from the other games, such as kind of the abandoned mansion at the beginning, and even a train fight to escape the Umbrella facility, like what happens in Resident Evil 2. Mila Jovovich, Michelle Rodriguez, and Eric Mabius all give pretty good performances. It's nice to see the character of Alice, who Jovovich plays, kind of before she became the infallible Resident Evil Jesus that she was in all of the sequels, which again we'll get to. The zombie and horror / action sequences are all well done. There's a Hall of Lasers bit, which is pretty famous. Basically what happens is Mila Jovovich's character wakes up in an abandoned mansion. Then a military team shows up and they're like, we need to go into this facility that's hidden under here. It's the Umbrella facility. So she joins them on that. And a lot of them, a lot of them get taken out because they're going through like this hallway, and then like both doors come down, and just like these lasers just that like go across and just cut whatever. And this one guy is like doing really good at dodging them, and then like one's coming towards him and he's like getting ready to dodge it, and then all of a sudden it just like turns into a huge cross lattice and just like cubes him basically.
How does she not?
She's not in the room. She's already past it, yeah. But later in the series, basically, she became unkillable and had superpowers, and it's just so stupid, and it's not what Resident Evil is about. But again, I'll rant about that later.
Does she have orange hair in this?
She might have orange hair at one point in the series. It's kind of reddish, yeah.
No,
I wouldn't say orange, no.
Okay.
That scene in particular, I think, is a good standout. I've only seen you play this
video game once, so I can't say that I even know much about the video game.
And it led off into a sequel that I think is pretty good, Resident Evil Apocalypse. But the other sequels, so we'll get to them. And now my number one, as of right now, because I haven't seen Detective Pikachu, because Detective Pikachu will probably be number one.
Can I get a hint?
You've definitely seen it. We watched it like a year ago because it's very recent.
Here or like at the movie theaters?
We didn't see it in the movie theaters. We watched it at my old house. In my old room.
Wow, we watched so many movies. Can I get like another hint? It
was released March 8th.
No,
March 6th,
not like timing.
16th, 2018. Content. It's about a girl.
A girl.
And she is looking for her dad, and she like goes to the jungle, and the guy's like, open the tomb! Except he doesn't actually say that in the movie. Yeah, it's Tomb Raider. Rotten Tomatoes score 52%. I
kind of forgot.
Which makes it the highest rated video game movie
you have to say which one,
ever made.
Not
it's just called Tomb Raider. Ones? Yeah, this one's just called Tomb Raider. The other ones are called Lara Croft Tomb Raider and Lara Croft Tomb Raider: The Cradle of Life. That movie has two, thingies in it. What are they called? Colons, yeah. So it's Lara Croft : Tomb Raider : The Cradle of Life.
Oh shit.
It was directed by Roar Uthag, who I've never heard of. It stars Alicia Vikander, Dominic West, Walton Goggins, Daniel Wu, and Kristen Scott Thomas. So it adapts the more recent, more realistic Tomb Raider games created by Crystal Dynamics.
Not the pointy triangle titties.
No, unfortunately, there are no pointy triangle titties in this movie.
Sad.
Which were started in, I think, 2013, 2014.
What, like the realistic ones?
Yeah, they made her a lot more of a relatable character. It was a full reboot of the series. She's somewhat, in over her head, and this really works well for the film format because as much as I enjoy the Angelina Jolie ones, she's kind of overpowered in this.
Triad, the villains?
Yeah, they're
group.
I think
they're kind of behind everything. It is a triangle. I do recall that.
Yeah.
They're like kind of the ones that are connected to it all.
I think Alicia Vikander does a really good job as Lara Croft.
She looks like her.
Yeah. Dominic West's good as her father, but I think Walton Goggins.
As far as the video game goes, Camilla Luddington, from
yeah.
I was thinking of April from Grey's Anatomy, does the voice and motion capture for her.
Yeah. But Walton Goggins and Daniel Wu, I think, are the real standouts. Mm-hmm. Walton Goggins plays the villain. Daniel Wu plays like the mentor guy that she meets.
I don't really say mentor.
Guy that she meets, I guess.
Doesn't really teach her anything. She's a lot more skilled than him. He's just good with both.
Goggins is always really good as a villain, even though in the trailer he goes, open the tomb! And then they don't actually do that in the movie. He's like...
Yeah. Who plays the dad again?
Dominic West.
No, but... Why can't I think of what he looks like?
No, I can never think of what he looks like when someone says it. His name.
Is he?
He's in a lot of stuff, though.
Is he in the 5-year engagement?
I don't know.
As like the one with the gwith?
No, that's Reese Ifans.
Okay. So it's not who I thought it was.
It had actually kind of
also in the Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, it had quite a few twists that I thought were kind of like, whoa, okay. I wasn't really expecting that of a video game movie, but they definitely fit into what I expect from kind of the Tomb Raider story, so they fit in with that pretty nicely. It does a good job adapting the first game in...
He's in Chicago. He's Fred, the one that she shoots.
Oh, in ways that kept it interesting.
Sorry.
But also kind of paying homage pretty well.
Okay.
Also, the set pieces and action pieces and all that actual tomb raiding are well done.
Oh yeah, that part with like the rusty plane, that was good.
Yeah, like they feel like sequences really cool from the video game.
Yeah, like you could totally tell when it would be like Oh, you gotta keep.
Yeah, but like it's
That's
not.
what my noise for hitting the button.
A QT, a quick time event. That's what that's called.
That's what the.
Yeah, when it's like press X now, and you like jump over. I think that they adapted those kind of elements of the game pretty well into movie format without it being on the nose and really annoying, which we'll get to with my other 5 because that shows up a lot.
She got like buff for that.
She did. She got pretty swole.
She got ripped.
Do you remember that one poster though with her neck?
Was it like really like long?
Yeah, it was like really elongated, and everyone was like, "What the fuck?"
That's like the Winter Soldier poster where Black Widow's arms were just scary long.
It's the one where she's holding the guns.
Yes, she's holding them out, and it's just like, why are they down to her knees? Why?
I don't know.
And it's like, no, it's just the angle that you're looking at it. No, it's not. They fucked up.
Yes. I actually just saw that poster today. It's kind of weird. Someone like posted it because they were talking about like I saw on the Facebook group about Black Widow's hairstyles, which we were also just talking about last night. Anyway, this one's probably the best video game movie out there right now. Yeah. Detective Pikachu is probably going to be better. But it's the only one really that I can be like, yeah, I did that. And I think Mortal Kombat is like, that's just a fun one to just like pop on with friends because it's a little silly.
It is?
Yeah. Oh. But Tomb Raider is actually like a somewhat decent movie. Even though I called it from the trailers, I was like, that one shot of her holding to the one gun, and she's like, I'll take both. It's going to be the very
end.
I was like, that's going to be the end of the...
Actually in like a braid? Is that like a thing?
I was like, that's going to be the end of the movie. That's the last shot, and it was. Yeah. I always call those. I also called that with The Amazing Spider-Man 2, because they had the last shot of the movie in that one. Shot? When he's like swinging around the sewer plate, and he's about to like hit the rhino in the face with it, and then the movie like ends. Oh,
I found it. Sorry.
But yeah, she wears usually like a braid. She wears a tank top, short booty shorts, her holsters, and like her backpack. Yeah. But she kind of had, that classic cool look. Anyway, that's the good ones. You can check them out, and they're a good way to spend a couple hours. Resident Evil and Silent Hill are fun if you want something spooky. But like Tomb Raider, Mortal Kombat, Prince of Persia, fun with buddies. I watched Prince of Persia on the first time I ever pulled an all-nighter.
What do you mean?
You
had never stayed up all night before?
Yeah. And then I was like
had such
in
different
8th
lives.
grade.
Yeah. We had such different lives.
Anyway,
like a sleepover. You never just stayed up all night.
I didn't do sleepovers. I was a scared child. I never did a sleepover.
I mean, it took me a while.
14.
I was definitely in like third or
But you were also like in cheerleading and stuff and like soccer teams. So like, don't they do?
They weren't sleepaway. No.
No, but don't they do like cheerleading sleepovers? Like,
oh my God, I can't even think of any mother that would be willing to host that.
Oh yeah, true.
That'd be hell on earth.
Movies have lied to me, I guess.
And that's like high school.
I guess you were just the kid.
I was a cheerleader in like 4th to like 7th grade. You were like, shut up,
I have cheerleading in the morning, guys.
Every now and then I was. Oh my God, cheerleading like took over my life in the fucking summers. I didn't have summers. I had practice 4 nights a week. Until 9 o'clock at night.
Rise and grind, gamers, cheerleaders, rise up.
No, at night, honey.
Stay up and grind. Okay, so now we move to the negative part. The worst video game movies. Some of them may be fun watching with friends and alcohol. And I'm not condoning drug use, but I don't use drugs. But probably some people would say with drugs, they might also be fun.
What kind of drugs?
You're not my fucking mother.
What kind of money? What kind?
The ones that are like legal in a couple states.
Marijuana?
Yeah. No, prescriptions. Just like a ton of Xanax. Kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that.
What are you doing to these people?
To corrupting them. So here I have some dishonorable mentions. I have the very first video game movie ever made, starring John Leguizamo.
Who?
John Leguizamo.
Who the fuck is that?
He plays Sid the Sloth, and he's in a lot of other stuff too.
Is he in Sisters?
Yes. Yeah, he plays like the weird one.
I don't know why. That's a movie. Oh my god.
And he's in John Wick and everything. He's a good actor.
Oh, my name's Diego, and I have... What the fuck does he say? Oh my god, we used to quote it all the time when he shoves like the sticks into his mouth, and it's like, oh, I say we go that way. I'm gonna think of it later. What are you looking up?
I'm seeing who plays Bob Hoskins. So it has Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
Who's Bob Hoskins?
He's in a lot of random stuff. Super Mario Brothers. That's my first honorable mention. It was really bad. They said it in the real world. They weren't brothers.
Have I seen any of these bad ones?
Probably not. And for good reason. Actually, one time when I came over to your house, your dad had one of them on the TV. And I was like, why are you watching this? He was like, it was just on.
He just has anything on.
Super Mario Brothers was really stupid. They said it in the real world. They weren't brothers. They were father and son. You find out that their last name is Mario. All you have to do is
say, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh, yeah. He does play the main character.
He's Eddie.
Yeah. So Luigi is Luigi Mario, and Mario is Mario. He plays Mario. John Leguizamo plays Luigi. It's so strange. It's such a weird movie, and it's no good. And it just kind of started all of them. That's how bad it was. Also, Blood Rain, In the Name of the King, a dungeon siege tale, and every single Resident Evil movie after the second one, which is called Apocalypse, because after that, they were barely Resident Evil movies. Okay. They were entirely... Paul W.S. Anderson directed all of them. He married Mila Jovovich, and he was basically just making...
Side note. Why didn't you tell me that Fiona Shaw was in the Super Mario Brothers movie?
I didn't know.
Fucking...
Does she play Daisy?
Petunia. She plays Lena.
Oh, no.
Daisy is played by Samantha
Because it doesn't even have Peach. It just has Daisy.
Samantha Mathis?
I don't know.
And she's from Little Women.
It ends on a freaking cliffhanger with Daisy coming. She's like, we need your help. And it's like, okay. Anyway.
There's no Peach?
No, there's no Peach. It's the Mushroom Kingdom is an alternate dimension in which humans evolved instead of from apes. They evolved from dinosaurs.
I thought you were going to say mushrooms.
Yoshi is fucking terrifying in it.
Just like look at pictures or something.
Toad gets like turned into a Goomba, and it's really tragic, but he doesn't even look like Toad. He's just a guy, and the Goombas are really stupid looking. Instead of having huge heads, that's a Goomba.
That's a lizard.
They have tiny heads and huge bodies.
That's a small lizard.
Bowser is just a strange man with like spiky hair. And
is that this
God,
guy?
Let me see.
It isn't even spiky. It's just kind of like Bowser. Strategically gelled.
Look up Yoshi in this movie. Oh, yeah.
Yoshi in it?
Yeah, just Google Yoshi Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Is it a fucking egg? Sorry.
Here, I'll just Google it because you're probably...
Ew, why is Bowser's tongue like that?
Because he's evolved from a lizard instead of...
Okay.
Instead of...
I don't find it. Keep going. I am listening.
Instead of everything...
Oh my god, he's just a regular, like, dinosaur.
Yeah, that's... Yoshi's just like a weird-ass raptor. Yeah, this is Yoshi. This looks like a raptor. It's clear that this movie was made after...
Is he nice?
Yeah.
Why do all the Goombas have spikes on their shoulder pads?
It's such a weird movie.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
I think that's what Bowser turns into at the end, possibly. It's so stupid. This isn't even my list yet. This is an honorable mention.
I want to watch it. I only care about this because, like, I play Mario Brothers. Like, I do care.
And what
the fuck are they wearing?
The weird overalls, and they wear jump boots, and they're not even brothers.
Like, their overalls aren't even overalls. That's just a jumpsuit.
They're father and son, which is so weird. And and Luigi doesn't even have a mustache.
Oh, there's it's like the art, like, for like before.
The concept art.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the word.
And I think it involves like Bowser wanting to merge the two worlds, and he uses...
This ain't no game. It's a live action thrill ride.
Yeah, and then it ends on a cliffhanger, and Daisy comes, and she's like, we've got work to do, and like cocks a gun, and then they never made a sequel, and it was really stupid. That was my first honorable mention.
Sorry, go on.
All the Resident Evil ones are so stupid.
Any of these movies that's on the rest of like the list, have I seen you play a video
Probably.
game? Okay.
And I think you have played one of them, but
This
like
is
not.
apparently Daisy. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, the Resident Evil
Played
movies.
one?
Paul W.S. Anderson just like
Is it from that time that I cried?
no. Paul W.S. Anderson is just trying to make movies just about his wife being Jesus, basically, and they're so stupid.
Okay.
And Leon is turned into
That's
a
his
weird
actual wife who plays
womanizer.
it?
Yeah. And it's not Leon, and Chris is really stupid, and Claire is okay, as is Alice from the games, but not Alice, Jill. But it's just, they're really stupid, and
Okay.
such a waste of time.
Ian Glenn was in it?
Yeah, he plays...
Dr. Isaacs?
Yeah.
This is from the final chapter.
Yep.
I'm trying to find the one that Leon is in.
I think he's in...
Is he in Apocalypse or Afterlife? Or Extinction
I
or
think
Retribution?
it's Afterlife. I think it's Resident Evil Afterlife.
Allie Larder?
Yeah, she plays Claire Redfield, who is...
Chris Redfield is Wentworth Miller. Is he the guy from Prison Break?
Yeah. So it had like a decent cast. All of them have decent casts. It's just
I just don't
they're
know who
so
plays
stupid
Leon,
and they're
since
not.
I have seen you play like the new.
Well, Claire is the other character, the one who's played by Ali Larder in the
Okay.
movies. She's the one, yeah.
But yeah, so he isn't in
Resident
that
Evil 2
one.
as
At
well.
least he's not like a main character in it.
Leon Kennedy, Resident Evil movie. He is in Resident Evil Retribution. But then also there are like cool CGI movies with Leon as the main character, but they never got theatrical releases, so I didn't consider them for this. But those are actually pretty worth your time. Like Resident Evil Dead Degeneration, I
Played by
think it is.
someone named Johan Erb.
Yeah, and he's... I don't want to get
He's
into
in
it.
Arrow. He's Vigilante Sobel.
Cool. Let's get on to the actual
Real quick,
list.
did you hear about Felicity?
Oh, is she dying?
I don't know if she died, but she's not on
Leaving the
anymore.
show,
Yeah,
yeah.
she left the show
Oh.
like a little bit ago. I was stalking her on Instagram.
Anyway, let's get to my
Sorry.
actual list of
So
worst
sorry.
movies. Number 5, 19% on Rotten Tomatoes, Doom. It was released October 21st, 2005. You've probably seen me play the game. It's the one that's just like really fast paced and there's usually like metal music and you're punching, ripping things apart, shooting them with shotguns. Set on Mars.
I've heard you say the word Doom before.
Set on Mars. Basically, these people experimenting accidentally open a rift into hell, so all these demons
Cool.
come out and start taking over Mars. It was directed by... Let me get his name. I'm gonna butcher this. Apologies. Andrzej Bartkowiak.
Can I say?
Exactly.
We should have looked up like
It
pronunciation.
stars Carl Urban, Rosamund Pike, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Gone Girl Rosamund Pike?
Yeah, that Rosamund Pike,
And Dwayne
the very
The
same.
Rock?
Yeah, but he was riding high off the Scorpion King at this point.
Oh.
So, it's a bad movie. It is no doubt a bad movie, but it's also a really, really bad adaptation of Doom. Like I just said, it's set in space. It's about them opening a portal to hell. Jessica, what is the opposite of going to space? If you are on Earth, what's the opposite of going to space and a different planet?
What?
It's going underground. In this movie, instead of being set on Mars with them opening a rift to hell with demons coming out, it's set in a compound facility underground in Utah that's just been overrun with infected people. That's it. It's nothing like Doom.
Interesting.
It barely shares
Interesting.
anything. The only commonality is that there are, military people fighting zombies, but that's exactly what happens in Resident Evil, and it's
It's okay. It's okay.
the setting, it's just boring, it's dark, and not in a good way, and it's repetitive, and it's extremely frustrating when you can think of all the cool, crazy Martian landscapes and hellscapes that we could
I
have
always
got
think of it,
if the movie was well executed, because literally the game ends, all of them, with the main character, Doom Guy, going to hell. Like, he goes through the rift and
His
he fights in
name is
hell.
Doom?
Yeah, he's nicknamed Doom Guy. And he
Doom
has a
Guy?
gun called the BF.
Wait, his nickname isn't just Doom, it's Doom Guy?
Yeah, he's Doom Guy. That's just what he's called.
I hate it.
could be Doom Garl too. You never actually see him.
I hate it.
He wears like the cool mask and everything. Anywho, where was I? He uses a gun called the BFG. Stands for big fucking gun.
That's boring.
Carl Urban is basically the Doom guy in this. It's a complete waste of the three main actors. Carl Urban, Rosamund Pike, and The Rock are all pretty freaking good actors, especially nowadays. And it's just like,
The
to
Rock
see
has
them
stepped it up. He learned.
Going through this is just painful now.
I mean, he still does like generally like the same type of movies. But
so cheap. The dialogue is stupid. It's laughable. And the ending is the worst thing I've ever seen. So basically what happens with Carl Urban is he gets injured. Rosamund Pike plays his sister, and she injects him with like super serum soldier, whatever.
I assume what made
to
everyone
save him.
infected or
Yeah.
whatever.
And then he like passes out. He wakes up. She's gone. She's been kidnapped by The Rock, who's gone crazy and gotten infected.
Mm-hmm.
So he picks up a gun, and then for 5 minutes, the movie is in first person of him just running and shooting things like the video game. And it, I hate it. It's so stupid. And it's just so cheap looking. It looks like it was made by like students in a dorm.
On a potato?
Like that they were just like, oh, let's just like get a couple of our friends and put them in makeup. I mean, some of the makeup is okay, but it's also like the zombies just kind of like jump at him and stop and just wait to be shot.
They wait to be shoot.
Like no one's actually like attacking him. They're all just like coming really slowly. I mean, I guess it could be cool, but it's just, I guess it's just so stupid nowadays. And it just kind of feels tacked on just to say, hey, this is a Doom movie, you know, in Doom, like when you go and you shoot things in first person. This is Doom. Just go on YouTube and watch that part. That's really all you need to see of this movie, and you'll be like, yep, that was bad. That was really stupid. So that's Doom. That's my number 5.
Okay.
Number 4, rocking a 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. We've got Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, which was released February 27th, 2009. It was also directed by Andrzej Bartkowiak. It stars
So I was 15.
Kristen Kriuk from Smallville.
Who does she play?
Lana. Lang.
Oh, okay.
Chris Klein from
I got
Just
who you
Friends. Dusty.
Oh.
And he's in American Pie as well. He plays like the lacrosse player.
He's
Yeah.
Oz?
Yeah. Same guy.
Wow.
It
Wait,
stars...
what the fuck?
I didn't realize that Dusty and Oz are the same person.
Just been so many times.
Dusty Dinkelman. Neil McDonough
What's
from
the song?
Arrow.
Who does he play?
He plays... he's blonde. He's like really blonde. He's in the Sonic movie as well, so I just feel bad for him.
He's from Desperate Housewives.
Yeah, sure.
And he plays, as far as Desperate Housewives, he played Damien Dark something.
Yeah, Damien Dark. There you go.
Anyway, on Arrow, but in Desperate Housewives, I thought he was an amazing actor because he played the creepiest motherfucker ever.
He's a good actor.
And I saw him like in an interview, and I was like, his eyes are scary.
And Michael Clark Duncan, may he rest in peace.
Is he the really large man?
Yes,
Okay.
from The Green Mile.
Yes.
And Daredevil, the movie with Ben Affleck.
The Green
He plays
Mile.
the Kingpin.
The Green
This
Mile.
movie is so fucking stupid and so boring, and it's just like, say what you will about Doom, at least that movie's like kind of fun. Like, it's just, you know, shit's exploding, they're fighting zombies. It's like, okay, I don't want to kill myself.
Mhm.
This movie is just, how can a movie about street fighting and fighting be so boring? Like, it shouldn't be that boring, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's really the only movie on this whole list that I'll say don't even watch it just for fun with friends. Just avoid this movie. The entire cast, God bless them, they're trying their best, but they're all so horrendously miscast. The visuals are nothing like the video game it's based on, which is very bright, it's vibrant, the characters are colorful.
Mm-hmm.
This one is just dark. Like when
So
I
I
think
would
of
hate
this
it.
movie, I just think dark, but not in like a cool stylistic dark way like
In a way
Daredevil
that I would hate.
or Blade Runner. It's dark and dingy and boring to
I
look
just
at.
forgot what Blade Runner.
Blade Runner with
Blade
like
Runner. Is it the one that has the sequel that I don't
yes,
like?
Blade Runner 2049 with my boy Ryan Gosling.
I like Ryan Gosling. I just don't like that movie.
It does a complete disservice to the character of Chun-Li, who is kind of like famous as being like one of the first like real kick-ass female video game characters.
Mm-hmm.
And all the other characters from the game that it tries to adapt, like M. Bison, like Vega. They're done so badly. And the dialogue in particular is so stupid. And seems like it was kind of written like by a 12-year-old who just spent the whole weekend playing Street Fighter and like
it's a fan fiction.
Like went into school and the teacher was like, let's write a thing about conflict. And he's like, oh, here we go. Like I watched one fight scene between like while I was researching between Chun-Li and this character Vega from the video game who wears a mask and he has like knives on his hands.
Mm-hmm.
Not like in his hands, but he just like kind of has those like ninja things with the kind of like Wolverine claws. And at one point in the fight, she knocks his mask off and he's a completely normal looking guy. Like he doesn't have scars or anything. And she just goes, no wonder you wear the mask. And his response to this, after she knocks him down, is, I'll cut you. That's it. And then they fight a little bit more. And the fights are really dumb. They're done. They were done kind of in that period after The Bourne Identity came out where everybody was like, ooh, shaky cam and quick cuts. That's what makes good fights because that worked in The Bourne Identity. Doesn't work in this because it just makes the fights hard to follow and really boring to look at. Which is a shame when the movie is literally called Street Fighter. And while researching this movie, I saw a review in which one reviewer said that some of the fights between Peter and the chicken in Family Guy are better than any of the fights in this.
Those are some good fights.
And I'm like, I gotta agree. And they're done stupidly as one-off gags, not the focus of the show. It's just...
I've seen every single one of those fights.
Yeah. And at that point...
There's what, 5 now?
There weren't as many
6
as there were, yeah. It's just, it's not even so bad that it's good. It's just, it's one of those movies that is literally just bad. It's not fun. And, ugh. What a waste.
What's the next?
And they were trying to kind of make a whole series, like start with Chun-Li and then do the rest of the main characters, but no. Number 3. 1% on Rotten Tomatoes. Alone in the Dark. This is the one that your dad was watching one time when I was over.
Never heard of it.
It was released January 28th, 2005. It was directed by...
You played this video game?
Yeah, directed by Uwe Boll, who is a name that is synonymous with bad video game movies, and he's actually on this list again. He has made a career for himself. Just a little bit of a background on him. Making bad video game movies, basically. And anybody who gives him a bad review, he's like a bodybuilder and like boxer in his free time. He fights them. He literally challenges them to a boxing match, and he has fought critics in the past, and he usually wins.
Why do they accept the fight?
I don't know. And he's just, somehow he keeps getting funding. I think he like was really rich beforehand. I think he like made a lot of money like in like a hedge fund or something, and he makes all of his movies in Germany where he gets a ton of tax breaks and like I think even money from the government to make movies there. And literally everyone is like some of the worst garbage you'll ever see in your life. Like he has never made anything
Can you
decent.
tell me what this video game is about?
Sorry. The movie stars
I don't care about this guy.
Movie stars Christian Slater. Sorry,
Oh.
Christian, Our Love is God, man, Slater, Tara Reid, and Steven Dorff, who plays Chucky in the Chucky movies. So the games, the first one is set in kind of like the late 1800s. It's set in like a haunted mansion. You play as this guy who's trying to... It's been a while since I've played it, but it's kind of like the Resident Evil games where it's like you're getting clues and solving puzzles, but there are like ghosts and like creepy shit trying to kill you. This movie is set now. Well, when it came out.
2005?
Yes.
Ooh, 2000s fashion.
And like Christian Slater plays like kind of the main character from the first game, but now
Okay.
like I don't know if he's reincarnated or if they're just like, fuck it, we'll just do this. He like works for kind of like a Men in Black
Christian
Hellboy
Slater
thing.
cannot exist in another time period. He
True.
exists in the now.
And just to start this off, this movie stars Tara Reid as an archaeologist and museum curator. Tara Reid.
No offense, honey. I love Sharknado. Okay? And I love Josie and the Pussycats. And American Pie. But,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's another American Pie.
hun, I'm not buying it.
Exactly. And there's like...
I'm not...
I can't... I looked up the plot of this movie and I've literally already forgot it since I wrote this list yesterday.
How many Sharknadoes are there? Sorry.
There's like 7.
She's in all of them?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And they're like trying to save the world from this evil threat that's come out of, I think, things that were dug up. Like it's like an ancient evil, and there are these creatures that like live in the dark, hence Alone in the Dark. And if that doesn't, the Tara Reid being the museum curator, archaeologist, Indiana Jones, doesn't send up red flags. It also has really horrible dialogue, some terrible dubbing, because I'm pretty sure half the actors were German and doing their lines in German, and then he just got English actors or people who could speak English to dub over them. Terrible, terrible, terrible special effects. Like there's this one part where I think Christian Slater is
Maybe that's why she
shooting
got into Sharknado, because
shooting at someone,
the effects can't get
and
much worse.
the bullet is CGI, and like someone tries to like jumps out of the way, but like it's clear that like the director was like, okay, it's shooting now, and they just like jump, and the bullet just, it doesn't even come close to them, and they're supposed to be like just getting out of the way. It goes like the complete opposite direction. And it barely resembles any of the games that it's based off of, except for like Alone in the Dark from like 2008, which was really bad and really stupid. But all the other ones are kind of like classic survival horrors, and it just doesn't do them any justice. And all of these are hallmarks of Uwe Boll. Just terrible writing, terrible acting, terrible direction, terrible special effects in particular. He's just one of the worst creatives, quote, I say that with heavy quotations, to ever walk the earth. For example, I watched a couple scenes, including one where Christian Slater, I think it's early on in the movie, he's on a plane and he's having a nightmare and he wakes up and this kid next to him is like, it's okay, like, are you scared? And the kid's like dubbing as well. He's clearly speaking German. And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. And he's like, well, my mommy always says never to be afraid of the dark because there's nothing to be scared of. And he's like, well, your mom's a liar. The reason we're afraid of the dark is because how we survive. And then it cuts to the next scene and he's narrating the movie. And he's like, now you may think I'm an asshole or whatever, but what I just did could have saved that kid's life someday. And it's like,
no,
okay. It's so dumb.
No.
It's never scary. It's never intense. It's never thrilling. It falls flat on its face, everything it's trying to do. But in a way, it's kind of like so bad it's good. It's sort of like The Room of video game movies. It's like you can watch this with friends and be like, okay, this is fun.
I can't watch The Room anymore.
Okay.
So I don't think I could do this.
That's just you.
No. When I was forced to watch it at least like 30 times with friends, I can't do it anymore. Anyway, before you go on to your next one, what is that movie where they're playing a video game and if you die in the video game, then you die in
Stay Alive.
I like
with
that
Frankie
movie.
Muniz.
I love that movie.
That's a pretty good cast, actually. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It's like mid-2000s weirdness. That's fun.
I just wanted to mention
that doesn't count because it's not based on an actual game.
I just wanted to mention that because it's making me think, all right, what's that?
I just remember they would always show like commercials for that on TV, but they would always show the same one twice because I think that they had a 15-second spot, but they bought 30 seconds. So literally I remember it would say, stay alive. And then it would cut to Frankie Muniz saying, if you die in the game, you die for real. And then it would be like, stay alive. And then just play the same thing again. So you'd hear stay alive 4 times within the span of 30 seconds.
What's your number 2?
My number 2, this is a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's still worse. House of the Dead. This is one of the games I think you may have played because it's based off like at like bowling
When would
alleys
I have played this?
and like laser tag places in the arcades. There's like those games that just have like the guns that you pick up and
I
you
never
can
really played this.
shoot at the screen. It's one of those games that it's based off of.
Haven't.
Like just one of those, what they're called, rail shooters, light gun games.
No. I was never one to.
It's
play
one
those.
of those, like that and Time Crisis are the two big ones.
Never.
People listening to this have probably just played it for like 5 minutes while waiting.
I would only go for like skee ball.
Yeah, but it's like kind of a staple of arcades.
Oh.
And to think that you could make a video game off of that when like.
I mean,
who the fuck plays those games? Like, enough to actually care about seeing a movie about it.
You could just make it like your own movie and be like, oh, by the way.
Well, it was released October 10th, 2003, and our boy Uwe Boll is back. He directed this one. It was his first movie, his first video game adaptation movie.
Is he in these movies?
Sometimes he appears.
Like an M. Night Shyamalan.
He'll come up. I'll mention one that he appears in a sec. Anyway, this movie stars.
The first one on your list?
He might be, but there's another one. It's not a video game movie, but I just had to bring it up. Anyway, this movie stars Jonathan Cherry, Tyron Laetzo, Clint Howard, and Una Grauer. Classic names. The only one I could kind of recognize was Jonathan Cherry. He's in Final Destination 2. He plays the stoner guy who gets like split when something explodes and sends a bunch of barbed wire at him. This is another Uwe Boll joint. It was his first in a long line.
What's the guy's name? Sorry.
Jonathan Cherry.
Okay, I got it.
It was the first in a long line of absolute shitty video game movies. And honestly, it's probably not worse than Alone in the Dark. I think Alone in the Dark is a worse movie. But I put this higher because...
He's in another Wolf Cop.
Yes, he is. He's in both Wolf Cops.
Oh. Plays Willie Higgins.
And it's just because this one got him recognition and fame that opened the door to allow him to be able to make the rest of the movies that he made.
He's in that movie What If? The one with Danny Rad.
Oh, yeah.
And Zoe.
He even went on to make, and this is a movie where he stars in, he went on to make the movie Blubberella. Which is,
excuse me?
I have to go to the...
I'm going to look that up.
I'll read you the Wikipedia thing. Blubberella is a plus-sized vampire/human hybrid with a hatred of Hitler, who Uwe Boll plays in the movie, and a soft spot for candy. She's been fighting the forces of evil for centuries when she comes face to face with the dictator who has plunged all of Europe straight into a hellish war. However,
she uses dual swords.
In the midst of sending Hitler to meet his maker, she accidentally grants him the gift of immortality. Now a supervillain with an army of undead SS officers to do his evil bidding. Destroying him won't be easy, but if there's one hero big enough to defeat the fiercest army to ever walk the earth, it's Blubberella. Aside from the terrible, terrible body shaming involved in that, that sounds like a masterpiece. I'm pretty sure if you Google it, just like the craziest
the
fucking
main guy
scenes
in
will
it,
show
or at least
up.
the top rated guy, he's in Air Bud.
Cool.
That's all. Wow.
Yeah, just look at the. Are you looking at the poster for Blubberella?
No, I'm looking at oh yeah, no, I did see that. Clint Howard, he's from like The Water Boy, and he was just in Solo.
Huh. A Star Wars story? Oh yeah,
Huey
he's
from
Ron
Huey?
Howard's brother. Yeah.
Yeah. I always recognize him from like many things. Anyway, he's in it.
It's bad. But we're not talking about that right now. I just wanted to bring it up because it's so stupid.
Okay, so what's your number one?
I haven't even mentioned my number two.
That was number two.
It's not based on a video game.
No, not this one. The other one was.
Alone in the Dark was number 3.
You got to another... Oh my god, I'm so confused
Number
right now.
2 is another Uwe Boll movie.
Okay.
3% on Rotten Tomatoes. House of the Dead.
Yes.
That's this one, yeah. I
Number
haven't even
2.
talked about it. Yeah.
Oh god, sorry, I'm just so confused.
I'm almost at a loss for words with how bad this one is. It's not as
they just all kind of sound like the same
really
movie.
bad as Alone in the Dark, as I said, but it's pretty bad. It's about like a bunch of friends who go to this island on vacation, and then it's overrun with zombies, and they have to fight their way out and all that stuff. Yada yada yada. Like Alone in the Dark, despite its subject matter being about zombies, it's never scary, ever. It's never intimidating. It won't stay with you after you watch it. You'll be like, that was stupid.
You'll be totally fine.
The finale involves a sword fight with a zombie.
Yeah, she has dual swords.
That's Blubberella.
I'm kidding.
The acting is so bad that it almost seems intentional at some parts. Like I was watching a clip, and one character's like trying to swim to a boat, but the boat's been overrun with zombies, and all his friends are on the shore, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And it's just like, you clearly, the cameras were just kind of on them, and the director was like, "Okay, scream," and they're like, "Oh man!" And he's like, "Okay, keep screaming," and they're just like, like all that.
Don't
stuff.
know what to do.
He was clearly impressed with the Matrix because he tries to replicate a lot of shit from the Matrix, like a lot of like the 360 spins that happen in the Matrix in slow motion. Its music is so horrendous and annoying. The only pro that I can think of for this movie is that some of the practical effects are actually okay, pretty decent. The zombies, I'm like, okay, that's well done. That's about it. The film is so careless that during a cinematic climactic battle scene at the end against hordes of zombies, which is intercut with actual footage from the game for some reason. Okay. Like a zombie will be like going for a character, and then it'll turn to the video game version of the zombie like doing the same thing. You can literally see one of the cameramen just walking around in the background filming. Like you can clearly see him walking. And as I said, who the fuck wants a House of the Dead movie? Like, who has played this game for more than 5 to 10 minutes at a bowling alley or laser tag arena, waiting for a match to start, or waiting for your lane to open, or waiting for your parents to just come pick you up? It's so stupid and so bad. And I like zombie movies, and I try to give them the benefit of the doubt most of the time, but this one I can't. It's so bad. It's so stupid. But again, so bad it's kind of good. Watch it with friends if you want to watch it. Okay. My number one movie, riding high, 2% on Rotten Tomatoes, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, released November 21st, 1997, directed by John Leonetti, stars Robin Shou, Talissa Soto, Sandra Hess, and James Remar. So after the first one, which was my number 5, it wasn't a great movie, but its sequel really didn't need to do much to just be like on par with the first one, or okay, exactly.
Is Lyndon Ashby not in it?
He's not, because his character is killed off 5 minutes into the movie. He's not. He didn't play. It's
not even Lyndon
come
Ashby.
Back. It's literally the only character, the actor who returned, I'm pretty sure, is Robin Shou, who plays Liu Kang, the main character, and maybe Talissa Soto, who plays Kitana. I don't know if she was in the first one. But this movie is really bad. The fight scenes, while somewhat well choreographed, they just go on for forever, and they seemingly have no real bearing on the plot. They just kind of like are there. At least in the first one, it's like they're in a tournament, so it makes sense that they'd be fighting a lot. But this one is just like every 5 seconds, it's like, okay, now we fight. It throws so much Mortal Kombat lore out the window, but also like at you, that sometimes it's difficult to remember who is who, because they'll just have characters pop up from the games for like one scene, and then they'll just like fuck off for the rest of the movie, or they'll just be killed really quickly. Like Cyrax and Melina, who are fan favorites, but they just kind of show up and they like explode. Scorpion and Sub-Zero are back as well, which is cool.
Okay.
You don't remember who is who. You don't remember what their motives are. You don't really remember what the story is. Only, as I said, like 1 or 2 actors came back for this one, because everybody else was like, this is terrible. At least the first one was like, okay, but this is bad. Not to mention the dialogue, really stupid. You may have seen a clip from this movie because it kind of went viral on YouTube, and it's called The Worst Dialogue in Film History.
I probably
And
would
it
have
involves
clicked on
the character of Katana, whose mother had been killed, and then she comes back as the character Sindel. And in the movie, it's really badly dubbed.
Mm-hmm.
ADR, obviously, like post-production, they were like, well, we didn't get these. So Katana sees her mom, and she's like, Mother, you're alive. And then her mom's like, but too bad you will not be. That's it. It's so stupid.
Interesting.
And
I definitely haven't seen that.
I really suggest going to watch it. It's like the weird...
video.
Here, I'll just pull it up on YouTube. Because...
No, not right now.
Okay. It's really stupid. Go watch it. You can just find it. Just search that and you'll find it pretty easily. Or Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Search that?
Famous. No, search the worst line in film history or Mortal Kombat Annihilation bad line and it'll come up. It's really no wonder that practically no one from the first movie came back for this one, despite the fact that it picks up literally right where the first movie left off. So if you're watching them back to back, you're like, hey, all of them are different except that one guy. Because the first movie ends with the character Shao Kahn showing up and he's like, I'm going to take over Earthrealm. And then Raiden's like, I don't think so. And then they all do their pose. And so then that's how this one starts. Yeah, exactly. It kind of single-handedly killed what they think they were attempting to make a Mortal Kombat series. There has yet to be a theatrical Mortal Kombat movie since. There was a cool web series a couple years ago, I think, that was official, but that's about it. They mostly just focused on the movie, the games ever since.
Interesting.
And that's my number one. It's really bad. And it was so disheartening because, as I said, I was such a Mortal Kombat fan, and to watch the first one and be like, oh, that was fun, and then go in and see one of my favorite characters just be killed off and not even be the same guy, and everyone looks different, and everything's so cheap looking and stupid, and the plot makes no sense, and at the end Liu Kang turns into a dragon for some reason.
What is this? American Dragon Jake Long?
Exactly.
I loved that show.
It's just, I guess the reason it's my number one is because it kind of just put a bad taste in my mouth at a young age, so I have a bad memory. Or at least all the other ones, I was kind of old enough to temper my expectations before seeing them, but this one I was so excited. And it had already been out for years, I just didn't know the reputation that it had. Yeah. And I remember just
being sad.
Yeah. Because we got it off Netflix. I had to wait for it to show up.
Oh my god.
And I was like, it's finally here. Because, we shared Netflix with the whole family. So to get a movie finally is
took forever.
Yeah. And it's just, I guess I just have a bad memory of it. And I've watched it. I don't think I've watched the full thing since. I've definitely seen clips. Maybe I watched it once since. But that's about it. It's really bad. But also kind of so bad it's good. Again, watch it with friends if you want to watch it. Okay. I'm excited for Detective Pikachu.
Me too.
I am overjoyed with Sonic the Hedgehog.
Nope.
Can't wait for his weird muscular arms and legs.
That smile.
And his human teeth to just be on the big screen. Seeing it in IMAX. I'm seeing it in Dolby.
I feel bad for James
3D.
Marsden.
R.I.P. James Marsden. R.I.P. Jim Carrey. R.I.P. Ben Schwartz, who's playing Sonic.
Yeah. He deserves better.
Although they are allegedly redesigning him, but I don't know, maybe he was always supposed to be that bad looking, and then they were like, what? We have to redesign him? Well, here's the redesign.
Maybe they just couldn't tell the guy who designed him how bad it was.
I think they purposefully released it.
It's somebody's
really
child
bad.
who's important, so they couldn't be oh shit, it's really bad. They'd wait for the world to say it.
Purposely released it really bad so that people would talk about it a lot and it would become a meme. And then they would be the heroes oh, we're going to change it. But I think they'd already done that. And
yeah.
It could just be the best marketing ever, but it's still probably not going to be that good of a movie.
All right.
It's the end of the show. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter.
Facebook.
We are at 10 for 10 pod on Twitter. We are the 10 for 10 podcast on Facebook. Like us on Podbean, Spotify. Follow us on Podbean, Spotify. I can't speak. Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review. It's always so nice because then we get pushed up in the thing and it's more people see us. Listen to us.
Talking with your hands so much and they can't see.
Yeah, but when you talk with your hands, it comes out in your voice.
No, it doesn't.
What else was I going to say? Tell a friend, coworker, family, anybody, possibly anybody. Your dog, if your dog has like their own phone.
Okay.
Then just make it for them. Just tell them to listen. Give us recommendations for lists as well. It's always nice to hear.
Especially me, because I never know what to do.
You can email us at 10for10pod@gmail.com for that, or you can add us on Twitter or message us on Facebook for that kind of stuff. Thank you for listening. Love ya. Always a pleasure. Sorry to be so negative.
This podcast is part of the Shrimp Queen Network.
Visit facebook.com/Shrimp Queen Network to see more great podcasts.
Hear them.
Hear more great podcasts.
Good job.
Thanks for listening.